Hey Jagger, the Trump campaign says it's been hacked, and we have the latest details as this story develops. Hang on. It begins with this recently reported news story about Iranian interference with the upcoming presidential elections. After this video from yesterday on CNN, we'll have today's latest assertion from the Trump campaign regarding Iran's involvement. Stephen Chung, Trump's trusted spokesperson, has very specific allegations, as you'll see right after this bit of backstory.
Joining me now is the author of that Microsoft report, Clint Watts. He's also an NBC News national security analyst. So, Clint, this is fascinating. Tell us more about your report and how Iran is targeting elections here in the United States.
Yeah, so just to update everybody where we're at, this is the third of four reports that we'll do. And since the second report, which came out in April, we've seen a significant change. Russia has been constant in its influence activities going into election 2024. You could say they've been constant in 2020, 2016. That is what they do. But the Iranians in the last 3 months have picked up significantly in two key aspects. One, developing websites. So why do they do this? It's so they can launder information or news that they fabricate in a way that could influence the election in terms of what the candidates are saying or doing, but also the conduct of it. Separately, it's starting what we've seen many times in the last few years from Iran, which is a series of cyber campaigns. As you mentioned there, spear phishing or going after many targets, hoping someone will click on a link and they would gain access to the account. They could do this for things like espionage, but it could also be for hack and leak operations, similar to what we saw in election 2016. I'd also note, though, this is consistent with what we've seen in Iran, the Iranians doing to Israel, an election in Bahrain. They did this to the Albanian government a couple of years ago, and we also saw them get quite active as the election approached about this time in 2020.
Today's breaking news from Trump world is either about a legit hack or about legit hacks pointing their finger anywhere they can as they sputter toward November. Now, please forgive my cynicism. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I think it's well earned, as Stephen Chung, who I'm about to quote here in our big story, he has a substantial reputation for his measured assessment of a situation.
Crooked Joe Biden and his campaign are in complete freak-out mode, and that's why they've gone back on the word. And now they've gone in bed with a highly conflicted judge. And now they're making a political mockery of this entire thing. The fact remains that President Trump will overcome. He'll fight these charges up and down, and there's nothing to stop the truth from coming out. Thank you.
Well, here's today's truth, Stephen. Former President Donald Trump's campaign said Saturday that some of its internal communications had been hacked. The acknowledgement came after Politico began receiving emails from an anonymous account with documents from inside Trump's operation. The campaign blamed foreign sources hostile to the United States, citing a Microsoft report on Friday, like we just saw, that Iranian hackers sent a spear phishing email in June to a high-ranking official on a presidential campaign. Microsoft did not identify the campaign targeted by the email and declined to comment Saturday. Politico has not independently verified the identity of the hacker or their motivation. And a Trump campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, declined to say if they had any further information substantiating the campaign's suggestion that it was targeted by Iran. These documents were obtained illegally from foreign sources hostile to the United States, intended to interfere with the 2024 election and sow chaos throughout our democratic process, Chung said. On Friday, a new report from Microsoft found that Iranian hackers broke into the account of a high-ranking official on the U.S. presidential campaign in June 2024, which coincides with the close timing of President Trump's selection of a vice presidential nominee. Chung declined to say whether the campaign had been in contact with Microsoft or law enforcement about the breach, saying it would not discuss such conversations. On July 22nd, Politico began receiving emails from an anonymous account. Over the course of the past few weeks, the person who used an AOL email account and identified themselves only as Robert relayed what appeared to be internal communications from a senior Trump campaign official, a research dossier the campaign had apparently done on Trump's running mate Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, which was dated February 23rd, was included in the documents. The documents are authentic, according to two people familiar with them and granted anonymity to describe internal communications. One of the people described the dossier as a preliminary version of Vance's vetting file. The research dossier was a 271-page document based on publicly available information about Vance's past record and statements, with some, such as his past criticisms of Trump, identified in the documents as potential vulnerabilities. Apparently the font was not big enough. The person also sent part of a research document about Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who is also a finalist for the vice presidential nomination. The person said they had a variety of documents, from Trump's legal and court documents to internal campaign discussions. Asked how they obtained the documents, the person responded, "I suggest you don't be curious about where I got them from. Any answer to this question will compromise me and also legally restrict you from publishing them." The scope of the information obtained by the hacker is unclear. If the Iranians are indeed bringing receipts for Donald Trump by hacking his campaign, well, then maybe the savviest political maneuver of all would be to call his old pal Hulk Hogan for some advice.
No one has been able to escape that